unless I wear a white top, guys. I seem to get my face whited out. I try everything, and nothing seems to work. So anyway, we're going to wing it. Welcome, everybody. I want to thank you all for continuing to tune in, watch our shows, watch our interview shows on Friday. We had a great interview with Harvey Araton Friday. Former sports writer with the New York Times, New York Post, Daily News. Got a new book coming out, which is going to be simply terrific. So I think you guys should watch that interview and enjoy. I want to remind everybody, any groups I share this interview with will share relevant content, even if the entire show does not pertain specifically to that group. I have the okay from the administrators to do so. So, welcome everybody. Beautiful Sunday fall morning. Lots to talk about again. We've got lots of great guests coming up on Fridays, by the way. This Friday, I've got Ian O'Connor, the author of Belichick. We should have a great conversation about not only the coach of the six-time world champion New England Patriots, but also about the Patriots in general and maybe some of his other topics. He's written a great book about Derek Jeter, Arnie Palmer, and Jack Nicklaus's relationship. Lots of good stuff. And in the coming weeks, we've got Fred Mitchell, who is has written about the Chicago Bears for years. He wrote a tremendous book about the late Gil Sayers, who recently passed. They were very close friends. So it was a sad time for Fred, but I think we'll have a nice discussion with Fred come Friday. I think he's on the 6th of November. October 30th is still a little bit up in the air. But I do have interviews coming up with Billy Martin Jr. to talk about his dad and Billy Jr.'s crusade to get Billy into the Hall of Fame. As you know, Billy Martin, World Series champion manager with the Yankees, just a tremendous manager and, kind of a controversial figure. But we'll have a conversation with his son, Billy Jr., about a lot of that. We've got Lloyd Walton coming up soon. Well, Lloyd was a tremendous college basketball player with the Marquette Warriors back in the day before they changed their name. Went to the NBA Finals, played for the legendary Al McGuire. Had a pretty good NBA career, and he works currently for the NBA. And we'll talk to Lloyd about some of his time with Al McGuire and his time in the NBA and what he's up to now. I follow Lloyd on Facebook and tell him I kind of live vicariously through him because he's always on a golf course. So we have some fun with that. Marty Appel, I've got an interview with I did a while back. We're waiting to just schedule that when the need arises. Great interview. If you're a Yankee fan, you've got to see the Marty Appel interview. Who else? Can't really read my writing. I'm trying to get football guys on during football season. It's been a little challenging. The baseball players and writers are, just more accessible. I've got a lot of feelers out and negotiating with a lot of people to try to get them on the show. So anyway, lots to cover today. Got to get on the road, assuming the Patriots are playing their game today. I've got to get on the road to get myself in a position to watch that game. I hope somebody will comment on my lighting. I don't know why I'm so anal about this, but that's too dark. That's Sunday mornings are the only day I have trouble. Actually, when I wear a top, as I mentioned before, I promise never to wear anything but white. But I want to be in a white shirt every single time. It's so dull. Or Keith's pretty dull anyway, so maybe it's appropriate. What do we want to start with? We're going to start with college football, guys, and a lot of stuff going on. High scoring continues, although not as bad as last week. Thanks, Steve. Looks good. Thank you. I seem to always get this white spot, or I get this white ring around my mouth. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Brett Cloutier. New York Rangers signed the first overall pick this week. Alex Lafreniere. I know I said it wrong, and Brett's just saying he thinks I don't talk about hockey enough here, but we will. I got to get some hockey guests. Get me some hockey guests, Brett. Who do you know? We'll bring you on, and anybody you can bring in to talk about the Rangers. How about that? Put a challenge out to Brett. Brett works for me. Brett's a great guy. Brett is an ex hockey player. Played here in Albany with the River Rats. Played in Binghamton. He played at the top levels and never quite made it. And you can correct me, Brett, if I'm wrong. And I wish he had. He's laughing. Just so you guys know, I want to put up the number here today. Let's put the number up. Bear with me a second. If anybody wants to call in, we can certainly chat. Brett was a great hockey player. I joke with him a lot. You can find his fights on YouTube. Just Google his name. I always kid him about his record. It's funny that you can find a site dedicated to a player's not only career, but the fights he was in. Lots of videos. Kind of fun to watch. So you can see Brett's name in the comments and look him up. Great guy. Great hockey player. Wish he had a Stanley Cup to bring to the office, should we ever go back to the office. And I will talk more about hockey, I promise. This season is just so convoluted, and there's so much going on at one time. Seem to have lost my internet connection here. Not sure what happened. I'm going to lose sight on some stuff I want to chat about here, guys. Hopefully I'm still on the air. Bear with me one second. Riveting radio, riveting TV. Keith using his keyboard with one hand. How good is he? Huh. No internet connection. Not sure what's going on there. Well, we'll figure it out. Anyway, college football yesterday. High scoring continues. COVID-19, 6 more games postponed. Nick Saban tests positive, then tests negative. So he had a false positive. But Dan Mullen, ironically, after his, I'm sorry, yes, I tried to be nice last week, but after his stupid comments last week about packing the swamp with 90,000 people, the team had an outbreak this week, and Dan Mullen has COVID-19. We wish him well. I don't wish anybody to get sick. It's just ironic, that we still have to be careful. 6 games, guys, postponed again yesterday. Not a good situation. I'm not sure what the problem is with these guys. And, well, I do know what the problem is. They're young guys. But it's not just college players. It's professional players, as we'll talk about here in a little bit. Got to be smarter. Some of the games yesterday, Notre Dame struggles with Louisville on the road, as they might be to be expected to. They've been playing very well, but, they've had limited opportunities to practice because of some COVID situations on campus and within the team. We had some upsets, South Carolina over Auburn, which may not really be an upset. Auburn is not very good. The calls for Gus Malzahn's head have started, or continue, I should say. That's really, the only thing that qualifies as an upset, maybe Arkansas over Ole Miss, but, those are 2 middling teams. Arkansas is actually playing very, very well in the SEC, and there was kind of a dearth of good games yesterday. Partly because of the postponements. And as you can imagine, let me make one more shot at this. I don't know why. Oh, somehow I put myself on airplane mode on my computer. How the heck did I do that? Man, I am just bear with me one second, guys. Oh, boy. Let's get myself off airplane mode. Can I do it? Can I do it? I have no idea. We'll figure this out as we go. I usually get myself pretty well prepared here and don't have these technical difficulties, but good grief. Continuing on, Syracuse, terrible effort yesterday by Syracuse again. Big Ten will be in starting play next week. I think they start on Friday night, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Wisconsin and Illinois, I think, opens up Friday night. And obviously, we're going to get some shifting in the rankings once the Big Ten starts playing. Once the Pac-12 starts playing in a few weeks after that, we're going to get some shifts in the rankings because you got teams now in the top 25, and there must be 5 teams in the top 25 that haven't played a game. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens there. I'm going to look for this somewhere else here, guys. Bear with me another second. So I want to move on to the college scoreboard, if I can get to the college scoreboard. I don't know why I'm having such internet issues here this morning, and I apologize. Put it here and see what we can figure out. All right, let's take a quick run down the scoreboard. We talked about some of the stories that are prevalent here in week 7. God, hard to believe it's week 7 with so few teams having played, right? Quick run down the scoreboard, and I don't want to spend a lot of time today because, again, there weren't a lot of big games yesterday. The big story is really the Big Ten getting back. We did have one big game last night, Alabama. Georgia was a really good game for a while, and Alabama just steamrolled them fourth quarter. Mac Davis, good grief, sorry. Rest in peace, Mac Davis. It's funny because I watched North Dallas 40 yesterday. And one of my favorite movies. I happened to come across it. Really love Mac Davis in that movie, and I guess I got him on the brain. So anyway, Mac Davis played another great game. 4 touchdowns, 417 yards. He's really, really boosting his Heisman credentials here against a really good team. I don't think Alabama's really played anybody that good up until now, but they certainly show their mettle. Elsewhere, we'll start earlier in the week. Now, again, the scores, guys. The scores maybe aren't as bad as last week, but I'll just give you some scores. 59-52, 43-26, 37-34. These, I don't think any of these are overtime games, by the way. 73-7, Clemson. Good grief. 31-28, not so bad. Oh, not so bad. 40-14. I mean, these are not horrible. 39-37. 50-49. Good grief. 52-35. Play some defense. What's going on, guys? A little better than last week, I guess, as we'll see as we go through some of the scores, but, still not good. Going through some of the scoreboard, I won't touch on every game. Need to get through this a little quicker today, as I said. BYU beats Houston on Friday night, I believe it was, 43-26. A pretty good win for BYU. That's probably the best team that they've played. Again, tough road. They're ranked 14 right now. Tough road for BYU to traverse, as they've got not a great schedule. They're playing an independent schedule, and it's going to be hard for them. They don't have a lot of marquee games, so they got to win all their games. They got to be undefeated, and they've got to be impressive, and they were fairly impressive against Houston. Kind of like Houston. I'm glad I did not put any shillings on that game. I did go 3-0 yesterday in a little private betting pool that we have. I was on Alabama. I was on boy, I'll have to wait till I get through the scores here, I guess, to tell you. I know I was on Alabama. Other scores, SMU, number 17, squeaks by Tulane. Again, not a great effort. These group of 5 schools have got to separate themselves from each other in order to have any shot at the playoff. And especially this year, I think it's going to be very tough to get one of these group of 5 outside of the Power 5 conferences into the playoff. Guys, again, if you want to call in, please do. You can post your comments here too, as we usually have some good back and forth on Sunday mornings, and it's very enjoyable for me not to just have to pull things out of my limited brain capacity here for an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'm going to try to go an hour and a half today, so I have a little time to do some things where I need to run out. Mark, if you're watching, I'll be there about noon, maybe quarter after. Moving on, Clemson, number 1 Clemson. Yeah, playing Georgia Tech. All right, this isn't a 1AA school, or they're a respectable Division I football school. 73-3. Clemson is so good. Trevor Lawrence, right now, Trevor Lawrence 404 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, I think we got a race between Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. Obviously, we'll have some sleepers come in, maybe Sam Howell, but them losing yesterday is not going to help Sam Howell's credentials and maybe some others. We talked about Alabama looking impressive. I think the whole Nick Saban thing gave them a lift yesterday, and they end up rolling pretty much 41-24. It was a close game till late. Things got out of control for Georgia. Notre Dame, as I said, struggles but gets a win. And as I said again in the pros with Kansas City a few weeks ago against the Chargers, everybody's going to lose. In fact, the Raiders lost yet last week, as we'll touch on. But everybody's going to have a bad game, and hopefully you get through that bad game and not lose, especially in college. Pros, not such a big deal. College, every loss counts. The regular season matters with the playoff situation. So anyway, and so is the eye test. So winning 12-7, even though they're on the road at Louisville. Louisville is not a good football team this year. They've got some talent. They've got some speed, but Notre Dame squeaks by. In a so-so performance by their quarterback yesterday, Ian Book. As I said a minute ago, North Carolina gets to number 5 in the country and immediately falls on its face against an improving Florida State team. Still not very good. 2-4, 1-3 in the ACC. Sam Howell had an uneven performance, playing from behind. He obviously accumulated some stats, and their respectability's been. This is going to hurt them. Florida State's not a real good team. A suddenly resurgent Texas A&M, who I was bashing here a few weeks ago, as Jimbo Fisher always being on the edge of turning this program around, might be there. Impressive victory at home last week against Florida. And this week he goes on the road and beats Mississippi State, who has just been a disaster since their week 1 upset of LSU. So it might speak to LSU's fall more than Mike Leach taking the SEC by storm by winning that game impressively in week 1. Texas A&M wins 28-14. That's one of the teams I was on yesterday besides Alabama, and Kentucky was the other, by the way. We'll get that in a second. Miami 31-19 over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh always gives Miami's fits. Even when they play them at home, and they did for a while yesterday until Miami finally kind of pulled away a bit. Up and down performance by Derek King. He was kind of on the peripheral potentially of the Heisman race, but he's had a couple of down weeks here, getting killed by Clemson last week and struggling against Pittsburgh, but a good win for Miami yesterday. Pittsburgh's got a good defense. They lost their 4-year starting quarterback last week, so they had to replace him with a rookie yesterday. Joey Yellen And he had a decent game, but he made some mistakes. I mean, they didn't ask him to do much. He kept them in the game, and too often they were inside, the red zone and came away with field goals, especially in the first half. So, as I mentioned earlier, South Carolina over Auburn. Auburn is not that good. They're still 15th in the country, but they've struggled. Bo Nix has struggled. They should have got beat by Arkansas last week. Bad call at the end of the game. But again, don't put yourself in a position to lose that way. Arkansas. But Bo Nix struggles again yesterday. Only, barely completed 50% of his passes, threw a touchdown, 272 yards. They're behind the entire game, pretty much from the first quarter on. After they got off to a fairly quick start, South Carolina pretty much dominated them from that on. So a good win by South Carolina, and Will Muschamp, who's been on some shaky ground. Maybe they're starting to turn the corner a little bit there. What's next? Mike, as I mentioned earlier, Kentucky just annihilates Tennessee. I had a feeling after the Georgia game last week, Tennessee might struggle a little bit. And Tennessee just took it to them pretty much from the get-go, winning that game 34-7. Kentucky's a very good football team, but a very ignomic football team. I'm sorry, I try to say words I can't say, obviously. But a good performance by Kentucky. And they're trending upwards now. They're playing much better football. I thought Boston College and Virginia Tech, I thought Boston College was going to have a chance in this game. They're getting a lot of points. Glad I stayed away from it. Actually, it was not available for me to play. And I'm glad because I liked Boston College a lot in this game. But Virginia Tech, even still struggling along with some COVID-19 situations on the team, kind of took them to the woodshed, 40-14. A very good performance for Virginia Tech at home after struggling a bit the last few weeks. They're still 23rd in the country. We'll see what the new rankings bring, and it's going to be interesting, again, as I mentioned, as the Big Ten starts to play now and the Pac-10 starts to play in a few weeks. Those standings, not standings, but rankings are going to get shaken up. You've got, again, 4 or 5 teams in the top 25 who have not even played. Get a few in the top 10. Navy continues to rebound and play better, beating East Carolina yesterday, 27-23. Don't really care about that game. South Florida, I'll mention because a friend of mine who does a podcast in the Tampa area does a show about South Florida. They struggled, lost 39-37 to Temple, who's, I don't know, Temple is only their second game of the year. Again, not much defense being played here. Syracuse, I don't know what to say about Syracuse anymore. I mentioned them a little bit in my opening remarks. They can't get out of their own way. 1-4. It's just not getting better. They lost to Liberty, 38-21. Liberty's 5-0. But again, we're not talking about a big power here. Kansas is still winless after going to West Virginia and losing 38-17 without their coach Les Miles out a second week with COVID-19, did not travel with the team. UAB beats Western Kentucky. NC State beats Duke. NC State's playing well, 4-1 in the ACC. Might be a team to watch out for. Duke's not that good, but there was a lot of the. It's funny. I think a lot of the guys, like on game day yesterday, had Duke beating or at least covering this game against North Carolina State. So a good game. A shootout. Again, not a lot of defense play. These seem to happen in the AAC games for sure. Memphis beats UCF 50-49. UCF had a little scuffle on the sideline after that game. The kicker missed a field goal to potentially win the game. And then there was a bit of a scuffle between him and one of the backup quarterbacks. So not sure what that was all about. I've tried to find some more information on it, and all I got was, whatever, one sentence and a video from yesterday. Arkansas, as I said, played very well yesterday. They get to 2-2 in the SEC, 33-21 against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And, for all the and I like Lane Kiffin and the way he's rehabilitated his career. But again, this is probably not a good loss for Ole Miss. They're still a work in progress. Any other games here really stand out? Wake Forest over Virginia, 40-23. Marshall beats Louisiana Tech, 35-17. Marshall 4-0 in the Conference USA. Postponed games. A lot of good games postponed yesterday, guys. Baylor and Oklahoma State. Cincinnati, Tulsa. Cincinnati's one of those group of 5 teams hoping they can crash the party for the playoff. They're number 8 in the country. LSU, Florida, as we mentioned, postponed. Mississippi State, Southern Miss and UTEP. Vanderbilt, Missouri, an improving Missouri team, postponed. Florida International and Charlotte. So the number of postponed games has gotten into the mid-30s. Tough situation, guys. I hope things, straighten up, clear up, get better, whatever terminology you want to use with the COVID situation. It's tough. The college football, all of these sports knew it would be tough. They've got to keep these people, these players safe. Again, we're not talking even about professional players who are getting paid to put their lives on the line here, their health on the line at least. And we don't know what the long-term repercussions of having this, even if you're asymptomatic or have mild symptoms. We don't know what the long-term health implications are on your lungs and other things. And these are guys with chances at professional careers, which is why so many players have opted out of this this season. So that's kind of the quick rundown of the college schedule yesterday. Again, watered down a bit by the postponements. Things will pick back up, I think, again next week. We got some good games. The Pac-10 will be back, starting its way back. I don't know if they have a full schedule yet next week. I know they do once we get to the following week, but things will start getting more interesting on the college football side. So I like to cover it. I like to concentrate on it here. We'll continue to do so all year long. Let's move on quickly to Major League Baseball. Tampa Bay built a 3-0 lead in games against the Houston Astros. I hated Houston Astros. As much as I wanted to see the Astros and the Dodgers get a chance to play in the World Series and the Dodgers get a chance at redemption, not one of my favorite teams, Dodgers either, but, I wanted them to have a chance to get some redemption for what happened here a few years ago. Tampa Bay got up 3-0, proceeded to blow that lead and put themselves in position for a historic series loss, matching my Yankees' 2004 collapse to the Boston Red Sox. Sorry. But last night they played very well and won Game 7. There's nothing better than Game 7 in sports, right? Whether it's baseball, whether it's hockey, Brett Cloutier. Game 7s in hockey are awesome. Awesome. And in NBA basketball, probably the least amount, but still, Game 7s are just epic, I think. So Tampa Bay somehow manages to win this series. I mean, they tried hard to blow it, but they've got such a great approach to the game. As I said here before, they play the game more like it should be played. And we're going to talk a little bit about the analytics going forward. And I've got a few comments here as I wrap up my baseball segment because of a great player who passed this week. And we'll talk about that here in a second. The Dodgers got themselves in a big hole, down 3-1 to the Braves. The Braves are better than people think. Really good offense. Their pitching has come around here, especially in the postseason. Ian Anderson has been lights out. And the Dodgers have played well. Kelsey Jansen has found his way in the bullpen, closing out games just in time for the Dodgers. And they've forced a Game 7 today. Not sure the time of that game. I'm hoping it's not tonight. But my guess is it's going to be in prime time. And the aforementioned Ian Anderson, the Shenandoah product, will get the start for the Atlanta Braves. And how can you not root for the local kid, right? I don't know who's pitching yet for the Dodgers. They had not, as the time I came on the air, they had not announced a starter yet. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Their pitching staff has been, pretty well extended here. Again, Game 7s are just epic. I think they're awesome. There's been a couple of some interesting notes in some of these games. Clayton Kershaw gets his 12th postseason loss. This guy's a Hall of Fame pitcher who's pitched on, some really good teams, and he can't win in the postseason. 12 losses, maybe 3 wins. The 12 losses stand out. I didn't even look at the wins this morning. An extraordinary moment in Game 6, something that never happened in the history of Major League Baseball, going back 100 and whatever years. No two players with the same name had ever faced each other in a Major League Baseball game until Game 6, Dodgers and Braves. Dodger catcher Will Smith facing Atlanta pitcher Will Smith. And Will Smith got the better Will Smith. The better Will Smith. Who knows which Will Smith got the better of Will Smith? Anybody listening? I'll wait a second for the delay. All right, too late. Wait, let me try something. Crickets. Nothing. Nobody comes through. I'm just playing. All right, guys. Will Smith, the catcher for the Dodgers, hits a big home run for the Dodgers. Bill Pulver says one is Will Smith, the other is Won't Smith. Very good call, Bill. You're very funny. In your retirement, you should go into comedy clubs, I think, as you're traveling around the country. Where are you today, by the way? London? Pipe in. I'll keep going. Yes, Will Smith for the Dodgers hit a home run off of Will Smith of the Braves. Tremendous moment in baseball history. Never happened before. Nobody ever faced each other with the same name. But it was fun. Again, neither one's a big name. So it's just some interesting stuff. The Braves threw a pitcher out there. And gosh, his name is escaping me right now. But he hadn't had started a game since college. Pitched great in Game 6. Oh, Billy's in Colony, New York. That's kind of short distance for you. Oh, you're quarantined. Yeah, you would be. You probably quarantined. You should be quarantined for about 2 months with all the places you've been here recently. Welcome home, Bill. We missed you. What else? I guess that's all I got to talk about. Again, a great Game 7 tonight. The Rays will be playing either the Dodgers or the Braves in a World Series, and it should be a good series. I'm going to root for the Braves, although I'm sure the TV executives want the Dodgers in there. But with the local kid pitching tonight, we have to root for the Braves, don't we? One last thing on Major League Baseball. Joe Morgan passed away this week, sadly. I mean, we've lost Billy needs that beer. I do too. We'll make a plan, I promise. Going to Amsterdam today to watch the Patriots with Mark. Unfortunately, we are not going out. We have not gone out for a game this year, which is not our normal routine. So, but I will be watching the game with Mark this afternoon. Joe Morgan, again, we've had a plethora of Hall of Famers from my youth that have passed away, and other good ball players too, not just Hall of Famers, but Hall of Famers stand out in Tom Seaver, Bob Gibson, now Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan, I think, probably the greatest second baseman of all time, came to Cincinnati in 1972 and really, really added a huge contribution and uplifted what was already the Big Red Machine to really get it running on all cylinders, to play that analogy out. He could run, he could hit for power. He played great defense. Just a spark plug on that team. And after his playing days, and this is where I talked earlier about analytics, and Joe Morgan was bashed for years when he did Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller, another great broadcaster, by the way. John Miller, miss him on Sunday Night Baseball. It's pretty much unlistenable now. But Joe Morgan railed against analytics basically his entire time on ESPN, and he had to be their main broadcaster on Sunday Night Baseball for, 2 decades. Close. Worked for NBC a little bit. You're right, Bill, when baseball is baseball. And Morgan railed on analytics, and he really got bashed for doing it because this was the trend of the game. And if you saw my show back in August with Kevin Kernan, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Analytics, there's a place for some of this stuff in baseball, but guys, it's ruining baseball. It really is. I want guys who can walk, hit home runs. I don't care if they strike out 230 times a year. I mean, it's awful, the fact that, and I should have looked the stat up there, but there's an amazing stat about how many times nothing happens in in an at bat. They strike out or they walk. The game's changed. You watch guys hit into the shift constantly. And when Joe Morgan was let go by ESPN, we hadn't even reached the level of the analytical overtake of baseball. And it's gotten worse. And it continues to get worse. And guys aren't even taught to say, look, can't you see that there's 7 guys on the left side or the right side of the infield if you're lefty, or the field, the outfield swung around. We got 4 infielders on the right side of the diamond. You got the entire field open. You just hit into the shift over and over and over again. They want to eliminate the shift. How about teaching guys how to play the game the right way and put the ball in play and hit the ball where there's nobody standing? Sorry. Billy says, lighten up. I get this topic. The young people, probably why my analytics on this show are basically 50 and up. I don't get the 20-year-olds and the 24-year-olds watching. Hard to believe. Because I'm old school. I'm not just mad the Yankees are out. They're one of the worst freaking teams playing. Oh, God, I'm sorry. They don't play the game the right way. Very few teams do. I mean, even the teams that play the right way still get wrapped up in analytics. There's something to be said for it, but come on. Teach guys how to freaking play defense, run the bases, timely hitting, hit the other way, move the base runner, score runs without hitting home runs. Good grief. Painful to watch sometimes. 4-hour games. Playoffs come, I don't get any sleep. Well, I actually get happy when the Yankees get eliminated now because I get to go to bed at night. Sorry. I'm on a rail. Soften the ball. Interesting theory, Bill. I don't know. How about we teach pitchers to pitch as well? I mean, guys are out there looking to get out. We talked about this a few times with Garrett Cole and how he got upset getting taken out of a game here a few months back, and how I love that because guys that after 5 innings and throwing 80 pitches and 90 pitches are looking at the dugout saying, wait, how come you're not coming to get me? Don't get me going. We're going to have an entire show about the Yankees and all of this nonsense. And baseball's heading in a bad direction. It's going to be a very interesting offseason, and we're going to talk about it very soon. I'm deciding when to schedule that show, but we're going to need about 5 hours to talk about it. All right, that's all I got. Joe Morgan will be sadly missed, guys. Great player. We're losing too many guys. You know, I know many of you that watch, as I just alluded to, are my age-ish. And the guys we grew up with are starting to drop like flies. And it's very sad for me. A lot of these guys meant a lot to me when I was a kid and learned how to play the game the right way. Coach Gifford did teach me the game, Rick Sherlock, and Coach Gifford taught us how to play baseball. And I learned a lot from baseball. You know, I wasn't very good when I was a kid, young, but I worked hard, became a decent ball player, and you learned how to win, you learned how to lose, and you didn't celebrate losses. You didn't give people trophies, you know, just for showing up. Now I'm getting on another whole topic, which I won't do today. We got a lot to cover in the NFL. So I'll move on. No more baseball. Good luck to the Braves tonight. Good luck to Ian Anderson. Go get him. NFL. Couple of topics to talk about before we jump into the picks today. Horrific. You know, the Cowboys have had enough problems. The Cowboys are actually in first place in the NFC East, by the way, at 2-3-1. Lost my standings. Not sure if I can get them back up. Let me give you another bad moment somehow my one computer that I used for keep some screens up has lost the internet connection. Somehow I put it on airplane mode, so bear with me. And I might try to do it here. We'll do a quick. All right. Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers. We're done with the Dodgers. Cowboys are in first place, as I said, in the NFC East, guys, at 2-3. Philadelphia is a game behind, half a game behind at 1-3-1. If the Cowboys didn't have enough problems, the Cowboys lost Dak Prescott for the year with a gruesome injury last week. Tough to watch. In a less gruesome kind of way, it reminded me a lot of Joe Theismann's injury on Monday Night Football many, many years ago, 30 years ago, probably. Billy wants to know who's traveling in airplane mode. Not me, Bill. I'm on 21 Robin Lane here and have been for 7 months. I travel to Amsterdam a couple times a month. Dak, you know, whatever you think about Dak. And maybe the Cowboys will rally around Andy Dalton. I don't know. At least they've got a capable backup. Andy Dalton's been a very good regular season quarterback for quite a few years. Just hasn't managed to win a playoff game, which kind of in a way, and I apologize for my Cowboy fans out there, it makes him a perfect fit to be quarterback for the Cowboys. Never won a playoff game. But whatever you think, I mean, it was a horrible injury for Dak. You could see the distress in his face, and the man wants to play. He's a gamer. Whatever you think of him, financially, he turned down a lot of money. Took the franchise tag. I'm not going to feel sorry for him. He's making a lot of money. But, now this is not an injury that people come back from. I agree, Billy. He's a decent human being, and, he may be overrated a bit at quarterback, but it was just an awful thing. And he's probably lost tens of millions of dollars, if not more, hundreds of millions, with this injury. Can't feel sorry for him about the money. Obviously, he's made a lot of money already in his career. So, anyway, and he did just lose his brother. He's had a tough summer, tough 2020, like a lot of people have. I consider myself very fortunate, since we're on this topic, guys. I talk a lot about COVID-19 as it deals with sports, but there's a lot of people out there, maybe some of you, that have been affected greatly by this, either family members getting sick, professionally, and knock on wood, other than being stuck home more often than not and doing a lot less things. We're starting to do a few things now, carefully, getting out and about. But my wife and I have not been affected like other people. We've continued to do our jobs from home, without any loss of effectiveness. So for those of you that have been affected, you have my sympathies, and I hope things turn around quickly. So anyway, let's get the positive vibes coming from Billy Says. I agree. Unless you're a Bills fan, your team fell flat last week against the Titans. Bills are still good. I think they're going to have those moments. I was really surprised the Titans came out and played as well as they did, after being off for 2 weeks. I hope that bodes well for the Patriots today. Again, assuming the Patriots are playing. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. What else happened last week? The Dolphins go to 49ers and just to San Francisco and dismantle the 49ers. They got some problems in San Francisco. That division is very, very tough. And they got a huge game against the Rams today, which we'll talk about here shortly. But Jimmy G got pulled. They probably tried to bring him back a bit quick from his injury. Anyway, they dismantled him. The Jets and Giants are still the Jets and Giants. Le'Veon Bell, released by the Jets, signed by Kansas City. I don't think it's going to have a huge effect. Le'Veon Bell is not the player that he was when he was with the Steelers. Sitting out a year, I think, really affected him. Now he's come back, and he's had 2 seasons, a season and a half where he was misused by this coach. So it's going to be very tough, I think, not very tough. I just don't think he's going to have a huge impact. They've already got a great running game. So we'll talk more about that as we go forward this year. He can't play this week. He won't be eligible to play until next week. The Browns keep rolling. Great victory for the Browns. And I don't know if we have any Browns fans that have joined us yet, but the Browns are playing well. And I've spoken several times about Baker Mayfield, and I'm not a huge fan of Baker Mayfield, but he's played well. The Jets need a tornado to hit the organization. Billy, I thought we were talking about positive vibes. Oh, my God. It's funny, though, and maybe accurate. Phillip Rivers struggled in that game. If you're a Colts fan, you got to be worried about Phillip Rivers. He has not played well. He's managed some games well early on, but when they play from behind, Phillip Rivers is not the Phillip Rivers of old. He's an old 38. If my brother-in-law Drew's here, thank you for pointing that out to me a few weeks ago. Rick, the Vikings. Rick Sherlock, 1-4. They got to get it together here. I still think that team has got a shot to, make a run at the playoffs with the expanded wild cards and whatnot. Billy thinks he was being positive with a tornado hitting the organization. You're probably right. Vikings got to get it together. The Falcons are just awful. Dan Quinn gets fired this week. As I mentioned last week, I don't know how he still had his job. I mean, God, has any coach in NFL history ever blown as many big leads, especially one in the biggest game you can be playing? Then Dan Quinn, I mean, the Falcons are in a tough situation. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of money wrapped up in some talent. Some of it's getting older. Matt Ryan. Are they going to try to reload and win more time? They're going to bring a coach in there who thinks they can reload and make one more run with Matt Ryan. He's 35 years old, which is shocking to me. I do not know how Matt Ryan can be 35 years old. I got to be old. I thought I was 39 and Matt Ryan's 35. Anyway. Panthers. Here's a positive story for you. They started 0-2. And I kept telling you, I love the hire of Matt Rule. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great fit for the NFL. I liked their signing of Teddy Bridgewater. At the time, I wasn't a big Cam Newton fan. I've had to adjust that thinking. Bill, stop making picks. We're not picking yet. Don't make me scold you in the middle of the show. Kidding. They're 3-2, the Panthers. Won their last 3, playing very well. I think I like them today. We'll see where we get with the picks. Some of the other stories that we got to deal with, the Pats may play today. I'm not even sure. Again, when I came on the air here an hour ago, 53 minutes ago, they were still scheduled to play. But they had 3 more positive cases yesterday. Had to shut the facility down, then reopened it. They've practiced like once in 2 weeks. Obviously, I'll probably be – I'm not going to use that as an excuse either. I will pick the Patriots to win. They should beat a bad Broncos team today, and I don't care, how often they've been able to practice. They should be able to throw the ball out in the field and win this game. With Cam back, Gilmore back, I'm confident that they'll figure out a way. If they play – could get pushed to tomorrow. Could get pushed to Tuesday. Could get canceled again. I mean, the schedule's already been, blown up a bit. Bills got pushed to Monday night just because of some scheduling. I think probably because they had to play on Tuesday. They wanted to give them an extra day. They pushed them to Monday. Big game they have against I can't remember who the Bills are playing this week. Yeah, we'll get to it. When I do the picks. Jaguars. 12 positive tests yesterday. Shut their facility down. Don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe that game gets postponed yet. We don't know. Everything's minute to minute in the NFL right now. I mean, some players think they're doing a good job. The Patriots nearly had a revolt here before they postponed that game last week. Jason McCourty really spoke out strongly against the league and the Players Association, guys who are not in the locker rooms dealing with this over and over again. Yes, the Chiefs. Thank you, Bill. I knew they had a big game. The league's keeping us together again with bailing wire. I mean, they've got some options to postpone games, play a week 18, play a bunch of games that were postponed in that week. But if this continues to snowball, the season could be in jeopardy, and that's a lot of money. So I don't think they're going to be canceling a season. What else? I guess that's about all I wanted to cover as far as what's going on. There's some surprises. Obviously, still in the standings. Buffalo still leads the East. I think the Patriots are going to have to beat the Bills twice to have a chance to win that division. The Steelers keep rolling. Huge game today. Browns and Steelers. We're going to find a lot about the Browns today. The Ravens win again. Bengals not playing bad football. They're only 1-3, but not playing bad football. The Titans surprised everybody last week I thought they'd come out flat. Played a great game against the Bills. Colts are 3-2, but it's a kind of their defense didn't play as well, and they're going to have to win games with defense. Their defense didn't play well last week, put them in a hole. Phillip Rivers cannot come back from that kind of deficit these days. I haven't used the same screen to look at the standings here, so I apologize, guys, because somehow Billy Pulver put my other computer on airplane mode. I don't know how he did it, but good job. What else we got? The Chiefs get beat by the Raiders last week. Great game. Great win for the Raiders after losing a couple in a row after a fast start. So in Kansas City, great win for the Raiders. Broncos limping along. Obviously their game was postponed. They're all upset because they don't get a real bye week. They were preparing to play a game while the Patriots, were off. Well, I don't think necessarily having the stress of whether COVID is going to run through your locker room and you can't go to the facility to practice is necessarily a bye week. But again, is what it is. Cowboys, I talked about the NFC East. Sorry, slip of the tongue. The Giants are only 2 games out of first place. All you need to know. Packers rolling again. Big game for the Packers today against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Only the second time Rodgers and Brady have ever played each other. So, the Bucks are, up and down. I think I like the Bucks in this game. I've been kind of going back and forth all morning. We'll see where we get when I make the picks here in just a few minutes. Interestingly enough, the Panthers, as I mentioned earlier, in the South, have the same record as the Saints and the Buccaneers, 3-2. The Falcons are out of it already. They might as well sell every player they have that's worth anything and just blow it up and start over. That's where the hurricane or the tornado needs to hit, Bill, is the Falcons too. And the NFC West, look at Seahawks are playing great football. Seahawks and Kansas City are the 2 best teams in football right now, and the Packers as well. Rams are a surprise at 4-1, playing great football. And you get the Falcons, who are a little bit up and down, but they're 3-2, and the struggling 49ers, who I expect to right the ship. So I think they will. I think they'll get it together, and that will be the best division of football. And maybe all 4 of those teams make the playoffs. Who knows? So if you haven't seen my mug lately, there's my mug on my mug. All right, guys, let's move on and let's do our picks. Bill, if you're going to pick with me, looks like Drew's not here to defend his title. He's kicked my ass 2 weeks in a row. Let me find my pen. I should have wrote these down before. We're going to have to go through them here quickly. Week 6, NFL. Hopefully we don't lose this page. NFL Week 6. No Thursday night game for me to have you trust me my pick, and I hope you will trust my picks because I lost the last 2 weeks. And I guess if I was going to give you inaccurate information, that would be when I would have done it, because I have had 2 atrocious weeks in a row. Got to get it together. I had 3 wins, I think, the week before last, and 6 last week. Billy, I never got a chance to put your yours together. I apologize. With you traveling, I could not go back and find the comment. So, in any event, let's get rolling. The picks today. A lot going on. A lot up in the air with COVID kind of hitting a lot of teams. Practice schedules thrown off, facilities closed, unsure about playing some games today. Again, I'm still unsure about the Pats game. I'm still unsure about the Billy says he's 15-12. Good job. I felt under 500, as you can see. If you go to the page, you'll see I'm like 30, 31 and something. I don't know. God, I was off to such a good start. All right, let's start with the games. Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 o'clock today on CBS. It's a shame that game is not on local TV. Both teams off to a great start. Steelers are 4-0, playing very, very good football. Their defense is playing well. Big Ben is back, looking really good. And the Browns, with just one loss and a lot of weapons on offense. And again, not being a Baker Mayfield fan, he's been solid, if not spectacular. He's got a lot of weapons around him with Beckham and Landry and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb at running back. So they got a lot of weapons, a lot of arms. I got a baseball mentality with Game 7 tonight, apparently. The game is 3.5. Steelers at home. Pick is the Steelers. Minus 3.5. And Billy Pulver is on the Steelers as well. All right, moving on. Kansas City at the Bills, another big game. Friday, Monday. Oh, my God. Hold on. Friday, coffee. I should put beer or maybe some alcohol in this. I don't know. God. I'll have a couple later, I promise. Kansas City at Buffalo, Friday. I did it again. 5 o'clock. Monday. On the NFL Network and Fox, by the way. Totals off the board. I will tell you what this game is. If I have an email yet. I'll give you the spread we're going to play this game with, Billy, so bear with me a second, bud. Let's see if we got our email for the... I don't have it yet. All right. Well, we're going to give this our own spread. Let's see what else I can find. I'll find a spread for this game. As this site doesn't quite have it for us. And we may have other games the same situation. Okay, let's find football betting odds. For this game, we'll use a different approach. 4.5. Chiefs over the Bills at Buffalo. Tough pick here. I mean, the Bills have played very, very well. Thank you, Bill. 4.5. Came up with the same number. But I'm going to give you the number. Don't be trying to pick your own spread. No wonder you're beating me. This is a tough game, man. I'll tell you, Patrick Mahomes is a difference maker. It's a tough place to go play football in Buffalo. The weather will probably be fine this time of year. Buffalo's coming off a downer of a loss against Tennessee. They were missing Robert Woods. And their quarterback did not play that well Monday night. But I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs here. I have a hard time picking against the Chiefs. And I guess partly my brain and my heart always pull at some of these games. And I'm going to the Bills were exposed. Probably you need a better word than exposed, I think, Bill, because that's too many connotations. But I think they were exposed last week. So I'll go with the Chiefs. Rams at the 49ers. A big game for the 49ers. I mean, again, they have not been playing good football recently. Blown out at home by Miami. Not a good look. Not a good look. The Rams are 3.5. Again, another road favorite. A lot of those lately. I'm going to have to go with the Rams here as well until Jimmy G shows me that he can be a, raise the level of his game a little bit. There's just too many nagging injuries on the 49ers side, especially in the running game. So I got to stick with the Rams. No one wins for a scrambling quarterback for too long, Billy says. I mean, we're still talking about the Bills game, I'm sure, but he can throw the football too, Bill. He's a little different. Billy's on the Rams. All right. Very good pick. Gonna move on. Another nice matchup. Packers. Another road favorite. How often has Tom Brady ever been a underdog at home? If it's happened a handful of times, and it probably was in the playoffs or against the Colts when Peyton was at his best, it couldn't have been more than a handful of times. Packers are 1.5 over the Buccaneers at home on Fox today, 4:25. Great game. I got to get home to see that. I got to go with the Bucs. They've kind of been up and down. They're due to be up. Packers are playing great football. Aaron Jones has not thrown an interception. Tom Brady's numbers are good, but he's been very up and down, thrown some bad picks. Forgot how many downs there were at the end of the game last week, or what down they were on, I should say. He knows how many downs there are. If he's forgotten how many downs there are, he's in bigger trouble than I think. Billy's going to pick the Packers. All right. I'm on TB. Back on TB. Other games. Ravens at the Eagles. Another road favorite. Big one this time. 7.5. Eagles are just a mess. Still only half a game out of first place, amazingly enough. My guest Ken Schott a few weeks ago is a big Eagles fan. And when I look at Facebook during the games, I mean, I'm afraid I may have to call for help for Ken. So good luck today, Ken. Hope you're watching. I got to take the Ravens in this game. You know, it's a lot of points on the road, but the Eagles have really shown me nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. A lot of these games coming up are not really good games. I've got the Titans. The next game would be the Titans. Billy's taking the Eagles, by the way. Now I'm on to the Titans and the Texans. This game is going to be a 3-point game for the Titans. Very low spread, I think, in this game. Houston, you know, they played better last week after firing Bill O'Brien. Yeah, that is your worst pick, picking the Eagles, by the way, but that's okay. If you don't pick some games different than me, well, you picked a few different. Anyway, where was I? Texans, rather, played better with Romeo Crennel, their 100-year-old interim coach. But they're going on the road to play Tennessee, who's playing really well. Unless they have some kind of let down after beating the Bills last Tuesday night, I don't see this game being close. I'm on the Titans. Billy's on the Titans. -3.5 or 3. I'm sorry, -3, Bill. Just so you know. Oh, here's a great game. The Bengals at the Colts. Everybody will be dying to see this one. We got a home favorite for a change. The Colts are 7. This game's at 1:00 on Fox. Not here, fortunately. I will tell you that Joe Burrow's playing really well as a rookie, and the Bengals have been in games. But last week they got blown out, managed just 3 points. So against the Ravens, a really good football team. The Colts are a flawed team. They're starting to have a little bit of whispering about Phillip Rivers and the need to maybe make a quarterback change and get Jacoby Brissett in the game. But Frank Reich is a big Phillip Rivers proponent. He was a leading force in Rivers coming to the team in the first place. He coached him with the Chargers when he was the offensive coordinator. And I think he's got a lot of loyalty to Rivers. So it's going to be a long leash he's got, which may not bode well for the Colts. I'm going to take the 7.5 here and the Bengals. Could win the game. Not going to call that. Could win the game. 7.5, Bill. Bill's got the Bengals plus 7.5. Don't be making up your own spreads. I kid you because I got to find a way to beat you. Another exciting game. The improving Miami Dolphins. The Jets at the improving Miami Dolphins, but 8.5 is a lot. Darnold's not back. We're still got Joe Flacco at quarterback. He did not play well last week. Frank Gore, again, I think he was a year behind me in high school, Frank Gore. I am cheap. Dolphins are 2-3, playing better football. The Dolphins are playing. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be a factor this year, but the Dolphins are going to be a factor. Brian Flores is a really good coach. Brian Flores is delegating a lot of authority to his coaches, similar to Bill Belichick and the way he runs his offense and defense. They've got Tua sitting on the bench. Fitzpatrick's playing, good football, which Fitzpatrick does, and then he remembers who he is. Billy, I did not say playoffs with the Jets, no. The Jets are getting 8.5 in this game. Some people will tell you that's too many points for the Dolphins to give up. I won't be one of them. I'll take the Dolphins minus 8.5. You going to take your Jets, Bill, before I move on? I'm going to start moving on to the Patriot game here. I still got a question mark there next to your Jet pick because I don't know if that was your pick. Picking the Dolphins. You've gone against your team several times this year, Bill. Not a good pick. Not a good visual. Not a good, I don't know. I mean, again, it'll cost me because I'll be on the Patriots no matter what. Going to be tough today. Patriots are hold on. This is when I got to pull the line up for. I can't let Billy give it to me. I'll tell you what line we're using here, Bill. Bear with me 1 second, buddy. I got to go to a different page. 7.5. Which is much better because we had some lines that were as much as 10. But we're going 7.5. And I'm on the Patriots. Patriots have had 1 day of practice basically in 2 weeks. Minus 7.5. I just think, Cam's back. Gilmore's back. The Broncos aren't that good. The Broncos have been disrupted by the pandemic as well, even though they haven't, they're, again, for them to do the whining they did, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, we had to practice. We didn't have a real bye week. You know what? This is affecting everybody and everything. So a lot of teams had their games moved around. This isn't the Patriots' fault. This is no one team's fault. They're crying about this game gives me all the more reason to think that they don't have strong leadership. Billy's on the Pats as well. Pats minus 7.5. Bears at the Carolina Panthers. I told you a minute ago about the Panthers. The Panthers are 2.5 point favorites at home. The Bears somehow are 4-1. So they're one of the surprises in the league in my mind as well. But I really think the Panthers are going to come up big here. They're playing great. Even though Christian McCaffrey will not be back most likely for this game at 1 o'clock today, I'm still going to be on the Panthers minus 2.5. I really like what they're doing there. Matt Rule is just knows what he's doing. Billy's on the Panthers as well. He knows what he's doing. Bridgewater's playing well, managing the games. They're somehow winning. By the way, they're on this 3-game winning streak. I think the entire 3-game winning streak without Christian McCaffrey. Amazing. What are they going to do when you get him back? He's one of the best players in the football. They might win the South. Falcons at the Vikings. Rick Sherlock, are you still here? 1-4 Vikings against the 0-5 Falcons. Vikings are 3.5. Dalvin Cook is unlikely to play. Looks like a long game, pass happy. Both teams needing to throw the football to have any chance. Maybe the Falcons get a little bounce. Sometimes when you fire your coach, you get a little pickup. You saw it with the Texans last week with 100-year-old Romeo Crennel. The Falcons went with a much younger Raheem Morris, who's had coaching experience. And, the Falcons have had some up and down COVID moments, facility closing, no way to get ready for a road game, even against the Vikings. And as I said earlier, Rick, I hope you heard me. I still believe your team is going to make a run at the playoffs. But today's the day you better start. Vikings -3.5. I think it's probably a gift. This might be one of my best picks of the day, is the Vikings. I think the Vikings are my best bet. 3.5. What do you got, Bill? Moving on. I'll look for your pick in a second. Lions at the Jaguars. 1 p.m. Fox. The Lions on the road, a 3.5-point favorite. It's really hard to see the Lions a favorite on the road against anybody, but the Jaguars are bad. And the Jaguars have got some serious COVID situations. This game may not happen. It would probably be best from a purely football standpoint. Billy's on the Falcons, by the way. I wrote down the Vikings for you. I don't know why. Probably because Rick was had chimed in that he was here. Rick, you got to jump in next week and do picks with me too. Where was I? I moved on to the Lions and the Jaguars. The Jaguars, bad. A lot of bad karma going on there. A lot of bad. They have facilities been closed. Again, the game could be canceled. I don't know, or postponed, I should say. Lions coming off a bye week. Pretty clean injury report. Matt Patricia's job is hanging by a thread. Love Matt Patricia. Probably not a head coach. Great rocket scientist. Graduated from RPI for the guys that don't know. Tremendous defensive coordinator, as us Patriot fans know. But they allow 170 yards rushing a game. Got doing a good job on defense here, Matt. But I got to take the Lions in this game. -3.5. Tough spot for the I've got to go back to the last game. Rick, I hope you're reading the comments because and if you'd like, I'll get you Billy Pulver's home address. He just picked the Falcons to score 28 points in the first half. So maybe I'll get you his home address. You guys can have a conversation about this whole thing. Maybe a little face-to-face talk. I don't know why I'm promoting violence all of a sudden on this show. I apologize. I probably have to, I don't know. Maybe I need to take my meds earlier in the day. I apologize. Don't be having any face-to-face talks. But 28 points on the first half, Bill? Come on. Give me your pick for the Lions, Bill. I got the Lions -3.5 over the Jaguars. All right. Moving on. The Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins. Maybe to continue to be known as the Redskins here. Giants -3. Lions, I don't know. Both these teams are in disarray. Redskins do have one win. Rick, sorry about his Jets fandom. Billy picks the Lions, by the way. Rick, being a Vikings fan isn't so bad when you think about the Jets and Giants fans out there, is it? Billy's taking the Giants. Keith's taking the Redskins. I like Ron Rivera. I think Ron Rivera's got the. I like Joe Judge, by the way. Let me touch on this real quick. I get on the Giants a lot. I get on the Jets a lot. But I try to be, I'm a Patriot fan. I don't hide my fandom, but I try to be objective most of the time. I'm not going to pick against the Patriots, but I'm going to tell you when it's going to be a tough game today, for them. I didn't expect them necessarily to beat Kansas City or Seattle. They could have won both those games. They're 2-2, and I'm happy with where I stand. If you told me before the season or asked me before the season where it would be, I'd say 4-4. So I think I'm objective. And I get on the Giants and the Jets a lot. But when they got good football teams, I'll tell you, they don't have good football teams right now, but the Giants are light years ahead of the Jets. Even though they got the same record, they got the right head coach, I think. Now, he had some problems in training camp when he had coaches running laps. He was doing some strange things. Maybe trying out Belichick. I don't know. I will tell you this. I think Joe Judge has got that team on the right track. They still got to find out about their quarterback. There's some good things I like about the Giants. They played really good football for, 3.5 quarters last week. I'll save my money with the Jets owner's a joke. You guys are right. I mean, look at the Giants are way ahead of the Jets. I just want to get that out there. I think Joe Judge is the right pick, not just because he's an ex-Patriot coach. I've watched the way they've played these games, and the way they've played when they've been out of games, and the way they've played when they've been in games, and they don't quit. And they keep playing football, and this will turn around for them. The key is, do they have the right quarterback? And they got to figure that out in the next 11 games. Anyway, my pick is the Redskins in this game, purely because I like Ron Rivera. And Ron Rivera is going through some things now. If you don't know, he's battling cancer. So he's a great coach, a very underrated coach. And I think they've given up on Dwayne Haskins, and they could be in this. They're probably they are in the running for Lawrence. So Arizona and the Cowboys. The Cowboys. Cardinals at the Cowboys. Cardinals again, another road favorite. Cardinals are playing up and down football. They got a great offense. Their defense, little to be desired. I think if there's a silver lining to the Dak Prescott injury for Dallas and Dallas fans, don't know if we have any in the room with us today. I'm sure we'll have some watching this video later on today. The silver lining is with Andy Dalton in there, I think that the Cowboys are going to do what they should have done long ago and be much more reliant on the running game. You got the best running back in football in Ezekiel Elliott. You got a great offensive line. And I just feel like they're going to play better football. And Andy Dalton is a good game manager. He's a good winner in the regular season. So he fits really well with the Cowboys because they don't win playoff games either. Maybe that'll change. Maybe Andy Dalton's fallen into something. Andy Dalton's given himself a chance to make a bunch of money next year. Stepping in here, and if he does well, filling in for Dak. And who knows about Dak coming back? Dalton could be in the running to be the starter again next year. So anyway, I think they'll be much less reliant. I think they were far too reliant on throwing the football. Dak's good, but Dak's not Tom Brady. Dak's not Patrick Mahomes. Dak's not Russell Wilson. Good. He's below that. A little red, but ready. The Red Rifle. Andy Dalton and the Cowboys win this game. Billy picks the same thing. I pick them to win, by the way, not just cover. And that, folks, is all our games for this week. We got a few buys. Buys have kicked in. Hopefully none of these games postponed. I'll have to check the news when I get off this broadcast. We went a little shorter today. Not sure what I missed. We can talk more hockey. I want to talk more hockey. I got to get Brett Cloutier on the show. Maybe I'll have him on a Sunday and we'll talk. Just so much going on right now at once. Major League Baseball in a week, another week, or a little more than a week. Could be over in a week. Sorry. Cowboys are getting 2.5, Bill. Should have told you 1, right? And we're on the same team, so I guess I want to win. We're at the midpoint of the college season, sort of, with many teams just getting ready to start. The NBA just got over. The NHL hasn't been over that long, so we're still kind of in disarray with sports. It's hard for me to watch sports and look at the calendar because the Masters is coming up next month, November. NBA finished their season in September. Hockey finished their season early September, late August. I can't remember. We don't even know when they're starting their new seasons. College football is half in, half out. Two biggest conference, two of the big Power Five are just starting their seasons here in the coming weeks. Don't look at Vegas, Bill. We're in East Greenbush, New York. You're in Colony. I got my own lines. I have my own sources. See how well I do, right? Should I give you guys the 3 games I'm going to bet today? How about I do that? I'm going to bet the Titans, the Steelers, and the Bucks. They're going to be my bets today. I got 3 bets left this week in our little private betting conglomerate. That's it, guys. I don't have anything else to talk about. Next week, as I said, please tune in Friday or watch the show afterwards. Ian O'Connor will be my guest, author of the book Belichick. Just a tremendous book. If you haven't read it, take a look at it. Even if you're not a Patriot fan, it's a great look inside of a great mind. Belichick did not participate in this book, was asked to and refused. But I think Ian's done a great job of looking at how this great mind was molded, how the Cleveland misadventure as head coach changed him a bit. And he's got some great insight on some things that drive this guy and maybe some of the picadillos that he has. So I think it's going to be a great show. And I need to get to my hold on, guys. My theme music. I got the wrong bank. All right. Anyway, Ian O'Connor on Friday, 8 a.m. I will be taping that interview Thursday night. Ian is really busy finishing up another book, so we booked Thursday night. We got some great guests coming up that I mentioned before. Billy Martin Jr. will be on to talk about his dad and his Hall of Fame candidacy. We're going to talk to Lloyd Walton, a former star player at Marquette in the 70s, and a very decent NBA career, and involved with the NBA today. And the man I want to live to grow up to be, because he plays golf like on every great golf course I can see. So, and I've got some other great guests coming up as well, as we'll talk about in the coming weeks. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the decent weather while it's here. And tell Alicia I said hi as well, too, by the way, Bill. Glad she's doing well. Hope she's happy and healthy. Living in England, isn't she? You can make a comment. I got to wrap it up. You guys have a great Sunday. I'm going to see you Friday morning, 8 a.m. We'll see you here next Sunday at 9 a.m. Look for me on the Mac and Jack show too. Mac Sports. They have me on every Friday morning. I'm their Patriot Insider. Look for me then. Let's have some fun. Bye, guys.